Welcome everyone to another Geometry Dash tutorial. In this video, we're going to learn about something that is very cool. So I'm going to teach you guys exactly how you can achieve this. So you can have this and then you can change your game mode as you want. And it's very cool because, yeah, you can choose if you want to be a robot. And if you go through here, you can change, the ship in here, so you can go up. So I'm gonna teach you guys exactly step for step how to do this. I did it on my main channel, but now we're gonna go into literal like one step for step on how to implement this. And I'm also going to show you how you can add it into any level you want. For example, the sewers or any, online level that you want. So the very first thing is you want to grab yourself this, which is something that I'm going to have in a level that you can copy, and you can simply just copy and paste this into your own level. So this is very important because that's the pop-up that's going to show every time you click. And how exactly are we going to do this? Well, first of all, you're going to move this all the way to here, and then you're going to have this invisible thing. And then you want to give it a new group ID. Now, for my case, it was 28. You can do that, but you don't really have to. You can just give it a new free one, a next free one, but I'm just going to do 28. And I'm also going to click, hold up. We want to select everything, make it 28, and then only this guy is going to be the P. So you click on it and then you make it P using the edit group. And after that, what you want to do is you want to add a toggle and then just do in here 2.8, and then you want to add an advanced follow trigger and click on edit object. Just enter in here 2.8 and P1. And what this is going to do is basically make it always follow the player. So this is cool. If we get rid of this for a bit and then we start, well, there's still this stuff, but we're gonna get into that in a bit. You guys can see that we have a pop-up that's basically just following us, and we're just gonna have it disabled by default. Now, how are we going to enable it? Well, you're gonna have to go up here first, and then to the settings, and make 2-player mode and also dual. And what this is gonna do is it's actually gonna spawn another icon, as you guys can see. So you wanna add a options trigger right here, and then go to edit object, and then you want to make the player 2 invisible. Also, another thing I would like to add is this one right here, and make it hidden like so that now there are 2 icons. This is the first one you guys can see, and it's very important to do that because we really want to have the ability to click the arrow keys as well as W, A, and D. So when you click the up arrow key, we want this pop-up to come. So how are we going to do this? We're just going to add an event trigger right here. Then you want to go to edit object, and in here you want to set this to 2, which basically means player number 2. And in here is what's really important. You want to go in here and check jump push. And then you want to add a item compare trigger. This is optional. I'm actually going to skip this because it basically just limits it a bit. So we're going to get rid of this actually. We're just going to add a sequence trigger instantly. And we're going to give this the group ID of 4. Why? Because this one triggers 4 every time the second player clicks jump right here. So the sequence trigger is very simple. Actually, I have a full tutorial on it, but the very first thing you want to do is add a counter. So add this 0 and then go in here and do 2. And then what you want to do is add 2 pickup triggers. And the first one, you want to give it a new group ID, and the second one as well. For me, this is 8 and this one is 9. And then what you want to do is go to the sequence trigger, click on edit object, just add in here 8 and then 9. And then you want to do mode loop, spawn triggered, and this one should be defaultly enabled. So now the pickup triggers, the first one, what we want to make it is, we want to click on edit object and then make this 2, and then we want to make it 1 override spawn trigger multi trigger, and then this one is going to be 2, but it's going to override it to 0. So this one is going to set this counter to 1, and this one's going to bring it back to 0. So if you've done everything correctly and you start, you should start seeing this number go to 1 if you click the up arrow key, and then if you click it again, it's going to go back to 0. So I'm going to show you in here. So I'm clicking, so now it's going to 1, and then I'm going to click again, so it's going to go back to 0. Exactly what we want. So now, other than that, what do we want to do if you click the player jump? We also wanted to enable the pop-up that we had right here. So to do this, you're just going to go ahead and add 2 toggle triggers like so. You want to select this one, copy values, select that one, paste state, this one, copy values, this one, paste state, and this one you want to make it 28 and enable. So this is going to enable this entire thing. Remember, in here we disabled it. In here we're going to enable it using this. And these two are also very important. And in here we want to disable it, right? So it's very simple. Now if you click, it's going to be enabled. If you disable like that, very cool. So now we are actually doing some pretty good progress and we're almost done. Not really, there's still some stuff to be done, but it's really good progress. Let's quickly add some sound effects. So for the sound effects, I just added a SFX trigger and I used this sound, which you can find in here. And the settings are really all the same. Just make sure it's set on spawn trigger and also multi-trigger. And then the same drill, just copy this, paste in here, copy this, paste in here. And for this one, I just used the exact same sound, but with a bit of a speed change and pitch down. Make sure it's spawn triggered. So now, you guys, if you start, you guys are going to hear that there is sound effects. Perfect. So now the actual shenanigans. How are we going to change the game mode when we do this? So in the level that I'm going to leave for you guys to copy, you're going to find all of these guys, which are very important because they're going to basically show you what game mode you are. So I'm just going to like put them right on top of this pop-up. And by the way, clicking F3 on your keyboard is going to enable and disable preview mode, which is very handy to see invisible objects, right? I'm just going to quickly explain exactly how the groups in here work. So essentially, each one of these has those guys, which is basically just like the background of it, which, yeah, you guys can exactly see that this is the one that's going to get colored. So by default, the first one is cyan. And to actually do this, you want to give all of them a new color. So we're going to do 7. It's a bit gray, not too much, but just a tiny bit. And the bottom ones have a bit of a brightness change just so that they look a bit darker. This is what RobTop style does. And here's the important part. So this one has a group ID of 13. This one has 17, 18. This one is 19, 20, and 21. So 13, and then 17, 18, 19. Cool. So by default, you guys are going to see that this is how they are. So you want to add a pulse trigger right here, and you want to make the group in here firstly, and then 13, then make this 9999 and make it cyan. So this is the one that's going to make it go to cyan. So cool. So all of these guys have groups. So now we can specify which one we want to go like this. So if we start, now that one is going, and we can also make it red or whatever you want. But Rob said cyan, so we're doing cyan. Okay, so all of these should also be with the pop-up, right? So in here, so we're going to give them all 28. So that's, now if we start, you guys are going to see that they're going to get displayed right where I am. Ignore that thing. We're going to get into implementing that in a bit. But yeah, not in a bit. We're going to do it right away. So exactly, very similar to the process that we did in here. But instead of just looping through these guys, we're going to have a few more which are going to be responsible for the game mode changes. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this event trigger. I'm going to go to edit object, and this is the important part. So you want to go right push instead, and this one leave it at 2. And this is the important part. So you want to add a item compare, right? And give it a group ID. For me, it's going to be 14. And in here, this one should be 14. So this one triggers 14 if you click the right button, if player 2 rather clicks the right button. And this one, what is it going to have? It's very complicated, but don't worry. Just click on edit object, item 2. And then what you want to do is set it to spawn and multi-trigger. And then you want to do in here a new group ID, which for me, I think was 15. And just to demonstrate, I added this sound effect, which is basically just a UI thing. You can find it in here and make it spawn multi-trigger. and give it the group ID of 15, which you guys can see in here. So what is this really going to do? So it's every time I click the right arrow key, which is player 2, it's going to check, is this number that we had on screen earlier, where is it? This one, is this number equal to 1? And if it is, it's going to move forward and do this UI stuff. And if you've done everything correctly, what should happen now is that if you click the up arrow key, it's gonna show this one, and if you disable, it's gonna disable. But if you have it enabled and then you click to the right, so a right arrow key, it's gonna start playing this sound effect. It's very quiet, I know, but there is a sound if I really spam. And what's cool is that if you have it disabled, it's not actually gonna do anything if you click the right arrow key, which is exactly what we want. This is exactly what this one is for and what these two were for. So now we just have to add a sequence trigger. And another thing that we also are going to need is, you guys remember like the groups that we talked about? So 13, and this one was, yeah, so these guys, so 13, then there was 17 and 18 and all of this stuff. So you want to copy the pulse trigger from earlier and just do the same thing. So 17, 18, 19, for each one basically, 20 and 21. So you want to grab these, copy this one as well, because this is going to be like the last step that we're going to do in the sequence. And then you want to assign a group ID to each one of these. So for me, this one, I gave it 22, this one 23, 24, 25, 26, and this one is 16. It's a bit weird, but whatever. We're going to add a sequence trigger now. We're going to copy the values of the SFX, paste it onto here, which is just basically going to give it the same group properties in here. And then we're going to go to edit objects. Actually, I just forgot what the first one was. It's 22. So you want to go in here and add 22 and then 23, 24, 5, 6, and then 16, right? So let me just double check. You can see the number in here if you have enabled show object info. This one is very cool. So 26 and then 16, exactly. So I did it right. We want to do loop, spawn, and this one like that. And now what you guys are going to see is that if you click in here, and if you go to the right, this one is actually going to start getting colored. But also yeah, you guys can see that the more I click, the more are going to get colored. So this is a very easy fix. So to fix it, you want to make sure that this one has a group ID from the very beginning. So I gave it 16, and it actually is the exact same one. So these two have the exact same group ID. This is very important. And you want to add a stop trigger right here. Copy the values from here, paste them in here, and in here you want to just set 16 and make it, yeah, stop should be good. Spawn trigger and also multi, and then copy and paste it, copy values, paste. And this one is going to be 22 because we want to stop that one instead. So 22, copy and paste, copy values. I'm just going to do this one first, where I'm just going to like copy one. I don't know why, but my D key is very broken. So whatever. So this is 22, this is 23, so it should be disabled right here. 24, disabled right there, and this one is 25, and this one is 26, because this one is the one that's going to get disabled. So now we basically just said pulse the next one and stop the previous one. So it is exactly what we want. For me, I just had a little bug, and it's that these guys did not have the group ID of 16. So just doing that, it should now... Yeah, so now if you just keep clicking the right arrow, it should perfectly loop through all of them. So now we can actually get rid of this because we don't really need it. And we're actually very close to being finished. Now it's actually just about getting the game modes changed. So this is not that hard. All you have to do is place your portals like so. You want to make sure that they are actually in order. So in here we had cube, jetpack, ball, UFO, robot, and then spider. Cube, ship, or jetpack, then ball, UFO, robot, and then this guy. Also, another very interesting thing is that they all should have the same distance between them. So you guys can see that the distance between this and this is exactly 2, and this is exactly 2. So each one of them is exactly 2. Very, very, very important. And then you want to give all of them a group ID. In my case, it was 27. And then select the cube one and make it 27 parent. So it should be pink in here. And these guys are all normal. That's very cool. In case you guys were having like issues and stuff, there's actually this camera mode that you can add, which is basically just going to make this entire thing a free fly mode. Without it, I think, yeah, there's going to be a ground at first and it's going to be weird, but we're going to add that in here. So now 27, you can add these portals wherever you want. So they are in here for me. And since this one is 27, we're just going to move it straight to the player. So by adding a move trigger and then going to edit object, we're just going to go ahead and do target mode P1, and then we're going to do dynamic mode, and this one can be silent. And in here, the group ID of all of them was... it was 27. So 27, we're going to do it right here. So now these portals are actually just going to straight come towards you. And you can also make them disabled by default. So you want to do 27, we're going to disable them. And right after, you just want to enable them again, just so that there aren't any issues. So this one, you want to copy it in here, and you want to make it P1, P2, and this one -1. And yeah, what this is going to do is basically make it so that the portals actually follow you the entire time. Right, so now we have all of these portals right here, which is perfect, exactly what we want. But another thing I really highly suggest is that you select all of them and then go to edit group, extra, and then make it no effect, no glow, no particle, and hide, so that you cannot see them. But for now, I'm going to make them unhide, just so that you guys can see what's the next step. So we're going to spam a bunch of move triggers right here. We're going to make them all 27, and in here you want to do -20, silent, this, and then what's going to happen is that you're simply going to do copy values, and then in here paste state, copy, and paste, and just keep doing it for all of them. And the reason why we did -20 is because that's the exact portal offset. So now if we do this, and then we go to the right, this is what's going to happen. So the portals are just going to shift by one portal, which is basically going to lead us to the next game mode, which is exactly what we want. But after the spider, it's just going to keep going, which is not what we want. So we want to calculate all of these. So if each one does -20, and there are 5 of them, then it's going to be +100 that's going to be needed in order to go back to our original state. So now, boom, 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 and then if you click again, it's just going to bring you back right to the cube, which is exactly what we want. All right, we are literally like a single step ahead. We're just going to make the portals hide, and yeah, very cool. But now there's a small issue. You guys saw that the player 2 just jumped straight up into hell or something. I don't really know. And if you disable ignore damage, that's actually going to kill you. You guys can see I jumped up, and then the reason for that is because player 2 is actually a spider. He just uses the portals too, and then he just goes up and does some weird stuff. So we want to lock player 2 in a place so that he does not get moved at all. So to do that, there are a lot of ways, but the way I like to do it is to restrict the movements for a few seconds. So we're going to add this options trigger. We're going to do this. And then after a few seconds, we're going to do this. So what this is going to do is you can't click anything at the first few seconds of the level. And I'm also going to go ahead and make this one on touch, just so that I can see where player 2 is. And now thinking about it, I think I'm going to get rid of this portal just so that this guy falls up. And this is where we're going to trap him. We're going to make him a page like so. You can do this. Oh, oops, we don't need this one. And then you can just do that and just see exactly where my boy is. I'm just going to go ahead and move everything up so that doesn't get weird. And now you should spam like the up arrow key and see when he can go right or up. Okay, cool. So there's nothing you can do to get this icon out of here because the first few seconds you can't even click. So perfect, exactly what we want. So he's now trapped. We're going to do hide. And just to make sure, in case he actually somehow switches to the spider, what's going to happen is that he can actually escape, or the ball, or, you know, the ship even. So what we're going to do is actually, we're going to seal it up, but we're going to go ahead and give these guys a new group ID. 1 is free for me. So I'm going to make the group ID of 1 disabled. And as soon as he touches in here, we're going to make it enabled again. So he's going to basically trap himself. Exactly what we want. So cool, make sure he never dies in here, because if he dies, you're cooked. And yeah, cool. Alright, we're gonna make everything in here hidden, but one thing that's very important is that you also add a checkpoint right after this is done, because otherwise if somebody restarts your level, it's just gonna be really weird. I think you can do this, where it just basically takes a checkpoint right there, and we're just gonna go ahead and give it a try by adding a few spikes here and there. And I hope I did everything correctly. I should have done everything correctly if I'm not wrong. But if I'm wrong, then I've done everything correctly. Come on. Alright, cool. So, one thing that I forgot to show you guys, which is an issue that you guys are probably going to have. Okay, cool. So, you guys see that you can't actually click at the beginning, which is exactly what we want. There was something I wanted to test, which is, yeah, the checkpoint. Does the checkpoint work? No, it doesn't. So, what you can do is just make this spawn trigger, give it 3, and then just spawn 3 manually, like so. So that in here it reaches a checkpoint. And also this one we can untouch it so that the player 2 is hidden. And another thing I forgot to show you guys is that every single portal that you added has to be on free fly mode. Even the cube and the robots, because you're on a duel, so that's exactly what you need to do. So every single one of them, make them like that. And now I think we should be pretty good to go, from what I know. So let's just give it a try and see if 1,000 objects. Ah, I see, that's because of the pop-up, because it's so large. Okay, I just want to see, does the checkpoint work? Ooh, that's very important. So the checkpoint has to have the player position enabled, so that you don't actually spawn up there, but it saves your current position instead of the checkpoint's position. Alright, cool. That didn't work for some reason. Yeah, I'm not too sure why I can't spawn a checkpoint. I used to be able to. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but whatever. You can just add your checkpoint right here, so that, yeah, you just get... This is like an actual checkpoint this time. So you just spawn from here. And right, cool. So we're gonna switch. You guys can see that we can't switch, and this is probably due to a bug with the checkpoints, but in here you can perfectly switch. But as soon as you go to this guy, it's just gonna start doing weird stuff if you die, and that's not that very cool. Okay, so I found a fix to this bug. It's actually a pretty complicated one, but what you have to do is simply add a advanced follow trigger and make it P1 and Y only and 27. What this is going to do is make all of the portals always follow the player on the Y, no matter what happens. Also, these guys, we can get rid of them. And another thing that's very, very important is that you should actually select everything and make them on don't fade and don't enter. This way, it doesn't fade or enter the pop-up that we have right there. Okay, so this is just a test, and the portals are visible. And so we're gonna save as the ship, and we're gonna die. And then you guys can see that we actually saved as the ship, which is perfect. And yeah, I think we're almost done now. We can just make these hidden. I'm just gonna give this a try and actually see if everything is working as it is supposed to work. And later I'm gonna show you guys how you can like do this with different levels and stuff. So we're gonna go ball in here. Cool. We're gonna switch the gravity, and then we're gonna do UFO. We want to change to robot. Oh no, that's bad. Okay, yeah, I died. Whatever. So yeah, that's it. So now let's actually see how are we gonna copy. Actually, let me just upload this for you guys. I'm gonna name it game mode switcher, and we're going up. Wait, there is not even an end trigger in here. Oops, that's on me. Right, so we're gonna have it right there. Right, so the level is now up. If you want to play it, here is going to be the ID 121023, yeah, 880 or something. But now let's actually copy them into like the tower or something like that. So as of right now, there is a bug with the copying and pasting, which is extremely annoying. But just select all of your triggers, portals, and the pop-up, and also this cage. And what you want to do is click in here, copy plus color, and then you want to exit, and then you want to go to this, which has the perfectly preserved wrapped up levels. So this one is the tower. We're going to go ahead and copy and paste it into our saved levels. And now what you want to do is click on here and paste plus color, and then go to edit group and give them an editor layer 2 of 66, and then click on here. And then just add this right where the level begins, make sure that the start is actually the start. So like that sounds good. And now what's very important is that you, while having everything selected still, you want to go on here and actually click build helper. And what this is going to do is assign new group IDs to everything except for the sequence trigger. RobTub, please fix this. It's so annoying. But we're going to get into manually fixing that in a bit. But you want to make sure that you also have this one enabled so you actually spawn with 2 guys instead of 1. So now a few things happened. Every time you copy and paste something, the parent groups are no longer preserved. So this one is 308, as you guys remember. This one should be pink, and also the portal, the cube portal should also be 24, which is pink. And now, yeah, so there are a bunch of things that you should fix. So we're gonna add the cage right here and see if the player 2 actually falls into it. Yeah, but now there's a wall right there, which is not too ideal. So I'm gonna move it up a bit. You can also like make the gravity of player 2 like crazy, just so that he falls faster. And yeah, now sounds good. So now if you click this and you switch, it's not gonna work. Why? Because the sequence trigger is broken. So you guys remember how we gave these like new group IDs? So they were given to these guys, like new group IDs were given. We obviously didn't do 300. So this one's 319. So you just want to memorize these. So 319 until 323. So you want to select the sequence, go in here and remove everything because they just didn't do it, and reassign it. So 319, 320, 321, 31 this, and then the last one is 318. So 318, add it, and also these guys also use the sequence trigger. So this one is 326, this one give it a new one, 327. So 326 and 327, and now it should work. So now we can enable and disable it, and also switch to game modes, which is exactly what we want. Perfect. So one last thing is that sometimes some levels use like item IDs. For example, if you're having it in a mini game or something like this, it might break a bit, but to fix it, you just have to give these guys like some absurd number, like 2001 or something. And then also make sure that your item compare also has the same one, so 2001 then. And let's see if, yeah, I believe this level has the counting just for the, so see, this one is C2, which is gonna break if we collect a coin. So in our case, we're actually just gonna make it 2007, and this one 2007. The reason why I do 2007 is because I just add zeros and then another number, because it started at 2, it is 2000. So this should now work perfectly without any issues. So you can go ahead and check it out, so you can play this and you can change the game modes as you want. This is absolutely incredible. I absolutely love this idea. And yeah, you can just switch the game modes, and yeah, that's I believe it. Very cool. It took me quite a while to figure out, but thank God we have it. We have it working. We have the idea. We have everything. So can I actually do? Oh my God! Wait, hold up! Oh my goodness, that's actually kind of sick. No, yes. Oh my God, that's actually so cool. Okay. Oh, like that. All right, that's so awesome. So if you want to make a level with it, go ahead. Feel free to yoink it, copy it, and you can actually, what you can do is just copy this level and literally just build your own level on top of it. And yes, this way you don't have to deal with the triggers and all that stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to, you can feel free to rewatch this as many times as you want if you feel like you didn't get a single thing about it. But I hope this was helpful. So smash the like and also subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Also, you can watch the playlist that is on the screen right now. It is going to be very, very helpful if you are starting out with the Geometry Dash editor. See you guys in the next